We're going to take a look at how to write a system, and all system means is two inequalities from context. There are three different kinds of questions they're going to give you. What I'm going to look at first is when they give you six numbers. Six numbers is by far the most simplest. All you have to do is line them up just as you see them in the question. Okay, so I'll do this first example. You can do this second one at the same time I'm doing my first. So my example says Christian went into a movie theater and bought 8 drinks. Okay, so I should have started off by saying, as you're reading your question, as soon as you get to a number, I want you to highlight it and what it's talking about. So in this case, I got to a number 8 and it's talking about drinks. So go ahead and grab a color pencil, a highlighter, or likely do it with your pencil. All right, so every time you get to a number, highlight it. And 10 candies. So again, I got to a number 10 and I have to highlight what the 10 is talking about. It's talking about candies. Okay, costing at most. Okay, so I'm going to also highlight this 94, and it's costing at most. Okay, so that is my first 3 numbers. Remember, this is the method where you're finding 6 numbers. All right, now I'm going to change my color, so just pick a different color, and you're going to highlight the next 3 numbers. Daniela's went to the same movie theater and bought 9, and here's the first number, and then tell me what that is about. So it's 9 drinks. Okay, and 6 is another number. What's the 6 talking about? Candies, with a budget of $79.50. So that's another number, and you're going to highlight the keyword that goes with it. So when you've seen 6 numbers, all you have to do is line them up as you see them in the question. Go ahead and pause the video and look through your question and highlight 6 numbers as well as what they're referencing. We have to define our variables S so that we can write the system. And the question is going to tell you how to define your variable. So this says write constraints that can be used to determine the possible price. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight this as well. So use a different color and highlight what it's talking about. Possible price of each drink and possible price of each candy. Okay, so those are your variables. Now you can choose any letters that you want, but you know that they mean the price of each drink and the price of each candy. So looking at my drink one, what letter variable do you think is best to use? I'm going to use D for drink. Okay, so I've got 8D, so I'm going to say let D equal price, and again I'm just reading what it says, price of each drink. And what else do I have? Candies. What letter is great for me to use to represent candy? So I know that's what it's talking about. I'm going to choose the letter C. So let C represent what? The price of each candy. So you're getting that right out of the question. Going to write them in order using these letters. So all you have to do is read your highlights in order. So I have 8 drinks, and instead of me writing 8 drinks, what I'm going to write is 8 and what represents the word drinks, D. So I'm going to write 8D, and 10 candies, and another word for this connector word and is plus, because I'm going to do drinks and candy, so I have both. All right, 10 candies, and again, instead of me writing out candies, I'm going to use C because C is the price of the candy. All right, so I have 8 drinks and 10 candies costing at most. I'm going to come back to this keyword right here. So let's first look at costing at most $94. Let's talk about at most because that's going to tell us the inequality that goes right here. Please reference your vocab page in order to see what at most means, but we're going to talk through it. I have at most $94 in my pocket. At most, I have $94 in my pocket. Is it possible for me to have 93? Yes. Okay, so I can have 93. Is it possible for me to have 95 if I have at most 94? No. So we are not doing 95. We are going in this direction. Now, what the question I need to ask is, can I have 94? All right, so at most, I have $94. Can I have 94 in my pocket? Yes. So that means I'm going to include 94. If you look at that inequality, that's the direction it is pointing, or you can say it's going to the left hand, left meaning less. So that's the inequality we're going to put. And because I can include 94, I'm going to go ahead and put the equal to underneath it. Pause the video, go ahead and write your first one. All right, so let's go ahead and write the second constraint or the second inequality. Again, in order of my numbers. So I have 9 drinks. So that's going to be 9. And what does drink stand for? D. plus, because it says the word and, 6 candies. And how do I write that? 6, and then what represents candies? C. All right, with a budget, so that's my key word. I'm going to come back to that, of $79.50. So I'm going to write $79.50. Now again, go back to the vocab page and see if you don't know what budget means. All right, so I have a budget of, and I'm going to just make this number a little bit easier. Let me just say it's 79. I have a budget of 79. That's what I want to spend. I have a budget of 79. Can I spend 78? Yes, because I can spend less. Can I spend 80? No, because that's beyond my budget. I don't have that money. So again, we are moving in this direction to the left, which means less or that. You can look at this arrow right here. Do I include this $79.50? So I have a budget of $79.50. Do I include it? Yes, because as long as that's what I'm spending, I have it. So this is also going to be less than or equal to. Pause the video and go ahead and write your second constraint. Type them into Desmos just like you see them. So I'm going to type in 8D plus 10C is less than or equal to and $94. Then on my new line, I type in my second constraint, which is 9D plus 6C is less than or equal to $79.50. Boom. All right, I can automatically see an error. I'm going to click on it. It says we only plot inequalities of X and Y. Okay, so they're saying basically, even though you're using drinks and candy, they don't recognize what that is. You have to make it X and Y. So I'm going to go ahead and replace the first one with X. So I'm going to remember X is drinks and C is candy, right? So, which is the Y. So the first one is going to be drinks. So X is drinks, Y is candy. So that when I transfer my answer over, I can use not X and Y, but the variables I chose. Now you could choose, to be honest, when you're choosing the variables, you could have said let X be the price of a drink and Y be the price of candy. You can definitely do that. You're free to do whatever it is that you like. All right, so now once you've typed your inequalities, so again, pause the video, type in your inequalities for your question in the calculator. The question is, what is the solution? So let's talk about the solutions really quickly. Solutions is where they overlap. Stay away from dotted lines. So you can see there is my first inequality, and I'm just clicking this color. Where does the blue line go over the red line? Where does the blue line go over the red line? All right, so you can see here is just blue only. Here is just red only. This is the overlap. So the darker shading is going to be the overlap. And if you can't see it because the colors are not good, you can click on this, long click the color and change the color. Okay, so that one's a little bit actually clearer because I can see this is the red and green, red only, green only, no shading. So you are free to change the colors you need. So remember, anything is a solution, stay away from dotted lines. However, both of these lines are solid. So this is also solutions right here. All of this is solutions, and all of this. Now you do have to be careful because this is a real world problem. So remember, when we're talking about real world problems, it's got to be able to make sense. My X is the price of a drink. So right here, can I have negative price for a drink? No. So all of this side automatically is gone. Can I have negative price of candy, which is my Y over here? No. So all of this is gone. So really my solution can only be in here. Okay, stay away from dotted lines, but there are no dotted lines. So now the question you have to ask yourself is, what types of solutions in here would make sense? So we know because these are solid lines, I can have any solution here, there, everything here, everything there, right? So I'm going to click on this real quick and let's talk about it. So right now I have a solution of 5.5, 5, which is a solution because it's on two solid lines, right? So the question I have, does it make sense to say I have 5.5 and what is my X again? Price of drink. So can I have $5.50 is the price of a drink? Yes. Can I have $5 is the price of my candy? Yes. So this is a solution, meaning whenever you're doing this meaning bit, I need who it is and what they're doing. So this is Christian, he went to a movie theater. Okay, so meaning Christian went to the movies. And what did he do? He bought drinks, and it's not the number of drinks, but it's the what? price of a drink. So he bought drinks for $5.50 and candy for $5. That's what 5.5 comma 5 means. In some contexts, 5.5 is not okay. Like, let me say I was doing the number of drinks. I can't have 5.5 drinks, but because I'm doing the price of a drink, I can do $5.50 for a drink, and I can pull any solution. So I'm going to go ahead and pull another one, and I'm going to double check that it falls in here. So let's pull another solution. So let's zoom in. I can see 2, 2, for example. All right, so let me put 2, 2. All right, that is in my solution again, because it is possible for the price of my drink to be $2 and the price of my candy to be $2, because it is in my solution set. Now I cannot choose to 10. Why? Because even though it's possible for it to be on this inequality, it is not also a solution for this inequality. So I cannot pick that. So whatever I pick must be within here and make sense in the context of the problem. So I'm just going to represent this graph on the paper. So I just want you to sketch where you have space. For mine, it's going to be on the top, but for yours might be on the side. This is a solid line, and it's doing something like this. And then this is another solid line doing something like that. But I'm not looking everywhere. I'm just looking at this piece because this is a real world situation. Okay, so you're just going to shade in for me on your question. Which piece are you looking at, because it's a real world situation? Go ahead and complete your inequality. What's a possible combination? What does it mean? Please make sure you give me the name, what they're doing, and then what your X and your Y mean. Let's practice.